Hi everyone, thanks again for joining us. I'm here right now with an alumna of our Uganda Post-Conflict Transformation Program. Fatima, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. My name is Fatima Jamal. I study at the George Washington University. I'm a junior here. I did the SIT Post-Conflict Transformation Program in Northern Uganda last semester, and at George Washington, I double major in International Affairs and Political Science with a concentration on conflict resolution.
That sounds like a very busy schedule there. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
taking some time this afternoon to speak with us. I know prospective students like hearing directly from the alumni and not from me, the admissions counselor, all the time.
I'm
So
always very happy to speak about my experience. Thank you.
excellent. So let's jump into it right now. First things first, there's a lot of options out there in Africa and in the world in general to study abroad. So what appealed to you about SIT and specifically SIT in Gulu?
hmm So I was interested in SIT since probably beginning of my sophomore year because I was very interested in the research opportunities that SIT offered. And I heard from other friends who've previously done the program that they enjoyed it a lot and it had a great reputation. And personally for me, I grew up overseas, so I wanted something very, very different from anything I've done before. To go study abroad in order for me to justify taking a semester off at GW in the US. So that kind of limited it to two regions in the world, South America and Sub-Saharan Africa. And I looked into the different conflict resolution, post-conflict transformation programs and narrowed it down to two, the one in Rwanda and the one in Northern Uganda. And then I spoke with two friends, each of whom who'd done the program, and narrowed it down from there. And I was very interested in the content in the classes of the program itself, and across the board loved the research opportunities that SIT has in its programs.
Excellent. Where do you grow up overseas?
I was born in Kuwait, and then I spent 2 years there, and then 15 years in Oman.
Oh, okay. So definitely the Middle East is an area you're familiar with, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So now you mentioned a couple different aspects about SIT, the research component, the thematic, the themes of the program. If you had to pick one aspect of your time in Uganda, or one aspect of the program and your time in Uganda, what would that be?
As my favorite? I definitely love the ISP period. You really got to go on your own for 30 days and just investigate whatever it was with your interests. And the program staff were great for preparing you and supporting you along the way. I conducted honestly close to 30 interviews during that time, and SIT also gave me the opportunity to do a practicum and sort of intern with a human rights organization at the same amount of time. And overall, those 30 days, I made a lot of wonderful memories, learned a lot about my program, about my topic, and had a great time writing my ISP itself.
Can you go into a little bit about what your ISP entailed?
Sure. I focused on land conflict. I knew I wanted to write on a big post-conflict challenge in northern Uganda. And from there, I picked land conflict to limit the scope of my research. I picked one specific land conflict in Apa, on the outskirts of Acholi land in northern Uganda. And it is one of the most violent in the region. It has been going on for over 10 years now, and I got the opportunity to go and do a rural homestay at the same time, and with the organization that I interned with also went into the field with them. And yeah.
That sounds amazing there. Keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no problem. I would you like me to tell you about the land conflict itself?
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
So it's between the government and, much like a lot of the land conflicts, the larger land conflicts in northern Uganda, it's between the government and the people who are resettling back from the IDP camps. And the issue really started in 2006. And the government has deployed military forces and the police, park rangers, to disperse the people. Each side has its own argument to what happened, and the basis of my program, or of my ISP, was to try to speak to all the different sides of the issue and come to some kind of conclusion. And it has been very, the conflict itself has not had much reported on it because of it's been so violent in the last few months especially, and that's why I decided to focus on it.
Excellent. Now that you're back at GW, have you been able to continue those studies a bit more?
I've been looking into it since coming back. Unfortunately, a lot of the land-focused stuff has been a little limited here. But I've definitely spoken about it to other professors and been able to utilize the same type of concepts in other classes. Now I'm in the process of seeing if I would like to pursue it further for my thesis next year. And hopefully we'll know soon.
Excellent. Well, make sure you let us know if you go any further, because as you know, we love hearing from our alumni and what they do with out of their study abroad time. So now to change gears a little bit, as you know, in northern Uganda, the program is rather small, but that is also a positive because it really gets you to experience a small, close, personal group while you're there. But at the same time, it means a lot of people don't know who we are. So now I want to hear how you would explain SIT study abroad to someone who doesn't know who we are.
To someone who doesn't know who we are. Well, first and foremost, I would say that it's a great opportunity for undergraduates to pursue research opportunities in a host country. And second, the whole model is based on experiential learning, which I've found particularly true in northern Uganda. So for example, like in a day, I would have some kind of lecture from some professional, some professor on a certain topic in post-conflict transformation in northern Uganda. And then the second part of the day would include some kind of site visit that correlated with that class. And then we'd follow that up with generally traveling around to different places. So for example, my class on the ICC, I was able to take it at the ICC itself. And that is exactly leading back to the benefits of having such a small program, because so many of these places can host us because we are such a small group. And I was on the semester with only 3 people, including myself. Which was an extremely small program, and I really enjoyed it actually because I think it gave all 3 of us a lot of opportunities to pursue our individual passions and more one-on-one time with the different people who came to speak with us and with SIT staff in general.
And you guys were such troopers, especially your co-student who showed up with his foot in a boot.
Yes,
so.
Definitely. The first few weeks, we're bussed around everywhere, and it was a lot of getting used to, but
yeah, I was
overall.
in Uganda visiting Martha shortly after you guys left, and nothing but good things to say about you.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I have nothing but good things to say about her. So
yeah. So now, as we come to the end of the interview, I just wanted to ask you if there was one thing that you know now that you wish you knew before you applied to the program, what would that be?
That's a really good question, and I've been thinking it through since coming back. I think there's just a lot of logistical things to know, like how much it actually does rain. I got stuck in knee-high rain one day and had to waddle through it to get back to my homestay family. But besides that, I think overall there is going to be ups and downs with everything. And overall, it should be a positive experience, but knowing that you're going to have some good days and some bad days, like walking through the rain, or even encountering a lot of more sensitive and difficult to hear and deal with content, as you would with this type of program. Knowing that that's coming would help deal with those kinds of things. So I wish I had known that beforehand, some of which I did, but even just going and hearing it and seeing everything for yourself firsthand is different than just knowing about it.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean there. I have been working in the region for 10-ish years now. And when I was in Uganda and in eastern Uganda and hearing some of the stories, I was blown away. But it's such a resilient place, wouldn't you agree? So, well, we've come to the end of the interview today, but I always like to give the alumni the last word. So is there anything you'd like to say to the prospective student who's out there considering studying abroad in general in Africa or even in Uganda?
I would say definitely do it. As someone who was back and forth and not even sure that I was going to go in the first place, you learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about whatever you're studying, about the environment, and you'll make so many memories, so many new friends. It's indescribable to even try to describe what it's like without going there. And this time in your life, being a young undergraduate is one of the best opportunities that you have to do one of these types of programs. So I would say take advantage of it and go and enjoy, soak it all in.
Well, thank you very much for those very positive words. Good luck with the rest of your semester there at GW, and please keep in touch.
Will do. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.